Dear students in grade 12, the scientific section, good afternoon and welcome to our session for today, in which we are going to talk about Unit 3 entitled The History of Medicine. Dear students, let me at the beginning of this session introduce my colleagues in the studio who are going to participate in this session. Ms. Wala Safir, an English supervisor from Damascus Countryside Directorate. Good afternoon, Ms. Wala. And Ms. Hanan Kantakji, an English teacher from Hama Directorate. Good afternoon, Ms. Hanan, and thanks for coming. Well, dear students, as you know, when we talk about Unit 3 in grade 12, of course, we refer to the scientific section students, of course, because this unit is for the scientific section. So let me, at the beginning of this session, present let's say the contents of this unit or the skills included in this unit. As you can see on the screen, dear students, when we talk about history of medicine, of course, when we talk about it, let's talk about the unit plan. In the unit plan, of course, when we talk about listening, you have to know, dear students, how to listen for specific information. When we talk about speaking, of course, you have to talk about traditional and alternative medicine. When we talk about vocabulary, you are going to learn some medical words and idioms. And of course, when we talk about writing, you have to learn how to write a composition about healthcare in your country, in Syria. And then when we talk about grammar, of course, we're going to learn the passive voice. In pronunciation, you're going to learn another skill in pronunciation, which is called emphatic stress. And in everyday English, of course, you have to know how to ask for information. Dear students, the reading text, of course, when we talk about reading, as we said before, we're going to read a text about history of medicine. So, dear students, when we talk about medicine or the history of medicine, as you know, we are now in a world of diverse cultures, which means civilizations. Medicine in this world evolved or developed. Throughout history, medicine has evolved. All beliefs mixed with magical treatments in the past. When we talk about Arabic medicine, of course, Arabic medicine came along or appeared and pushed the progress forward like a strong wind. Modern healthcare united a symphony of healers, and then a future of endless possibilities awaits. I mean, we're still for let's say a new advancement in medicine. So no one can imagine what medicine will be in the future, and that's because of modern technology, of course. Now let us begin the reading text. Of course, dear colleagues, we have a reading text, and the title of the reading text is The History of Medicine. So if we want to talk about, Ms. Wala, the characteristics of medicine in ancient times, let's talk about medicine in ancient times. How was medicine in ancient times? How did people used to, let's say, treat or to cure illnesses in the past? Yes, please.
In ancient times, medicine in countries such as Egypt, Greece, Rome, Mesopotamia, and India and China, medicine was magical and mythological. When we say mythological, it means connected with ancient myth or stories. Let's talk about some characteristics related to this period in details. The cause of the disease. Diseases were attributed mostly to the supernatural forces that are beyond the natural world and cannot be explained by scientific means.
So when we say diseases, Ms. Wala, were attributed mostly to the supernatural forces, it means were caused by. So the reason, the cause of the disease. Yeah. So they were attributed to caused by, we can say that.
Natural forces,
yes,
such as spirits, ghosts.
Yes.
And treatment methods in ancient times, people often used plants, herbs, and other natural materials to treat their illnesses.
Yes. So there were no drugs, no medicines
Yeah,
in the
of
past,
course.
of course. So people, let's say, depended on using plants, herbs, and other
Natural materials.
Yes, that's right.
A place of treatments, patients were treated mostly in temples, as there were no hospitals as we know them today.
Good. So we have three main points related to ancient times when we talk about medicine. The first point is the cause of the disease. People at that time, let's say, attributed the causes of the disease to supranational forces, not to something, let's say, to germs or bacteria like today. Because in the past, people didn't know anything about germs or bacteria, so they attributed all diseases to supranational forces. So there were, let's say, all thoughts, wrong thoughts in the past. When we talk about treatment methods, of course, people didn't use medicines or drugs in the past. They depended on using plants, herbs, and other materials, as you said. And when we talk about hospitals or clinics, in the past there were no clinics, no hospitals, so the place of treatment was, or the only place was, let's say, temples. So people used to cure illnesses or used to go to treat themselves in temples. What is the meaning of temples, Miss Wala?
Yeah, it's
Holy
place.
Temples are holy places.
Yeah, to worship.
Yes. That's everything about ancient times medicine. Now let's talk, Miss Hanan, about another thing. I have another question. What are some characteristics of medicine in the Middle Ages? Let's talk about medicine now in the Middle Ages, Miss Hanan.
Okay. So the characteristics, of course, here the medicine depended on, let's say, experience. It was empirical.
Empirical.
Yeah.
So when we say medicine was empirical, it means that people depended on experience. They depend to, let's say, on to try this. Okay, let's experience
if
this.
It works.
If it works, it's okay.
Yes.
If it doesn't, they try something else.
Yes.
So this is the meaning of empirical.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Good.
And of course, it focused mainly on, let's say, some illnesses, curing illnesses by discovering without, they didn't look for the causes. They depended on experience, as we said, so without looking for the reasons.
Yes.
That's medicine in the Middle Ages.
Okay.
The causes of medicine at that time, they attributed them, of course, to inflammation. It means the response of the body, of course, to the treatment, of course, or to the medicine, and what to give them as medicine.
Good.
Treatment methods here, it was a mixture of superstitions or fables, something not natural, of course, let's say religion, and some herbal remedies. Sometimes bleeding, sometimes purging.
Good.
Purging here, purification,
So
of course.
good. When we talk about bleeding, what does it mean?
To let the blood goes out of the,
Good.
let's say,
Good.
vessels.
Good. Yes.
So maybe the
Let
patient
the blood
will
go
recover.
out. Yes.
Okay.
That's
By
right.
intention.
The place of treatment, of course, there were also no hospitals in the meaning of hospitals nowadays. So there were medical schools, and most people never saw a doctor. Why? Because medicine or going to a doctor was very expensive.
Good.
It was costly. People who treated ill people were different. For example, we have here barbers. Some people specialists in herbs,
Local wise people.
and barbers, as we said, sometimes priests. So different kind of people.
Which means they were skilled in the use of
maybe
herbs.
because
Yes.
there were no medicine till that time.
Yes.
Okay.
So again, in the Middle Ages,
Yes.
there were, let's say, 4 points here.
Yeah.
First of all, the cause of diseases. People at that time, again,
Attributed illness to inflammation.
illness to inflammation,
Yes.
which means when we talk about an area in the body or in the human body, in the skin,
Yes.
which becomes, let's say, bigger, because maybe in this
Swollen
area there is a
sometimes.
battle.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah.
Because the white cells are trying to
Contamination,
fight the germs.
germs,
This
yeah.
is the meaning of inflammation.
Yes.
So the area becomes bigger. So treatment methods, of course, people at that time, again, didn't depend on science, let's say, to treat illnesses. They depended on superstitions, religion, herbal
herbs,
remedies, bleeding, and purging.
Okay.
Place of treatment, okay, at that time,
There were
people
no-
began to establish, let's say, medical schools. They
Yes.
were medical schools, so schools, sorry. So instead of temples, people, let's say,
Developed the
can
idea
or
and
could
began-
go to medical schools. But at
use
that
medical
time, most
schools.
people, let's say, never saw a doctor at that time because of the high cost treatment.
Yes.
So who were the people who treated people
As we
instead?
said, skilled
So,
people.
people used to go, or patients, let's say, used to visit wise people who were skilled in the use of herbs, like barbers or priests.
Priests, yeah.
Good.
And
Thank you.
specialists in herbs sometimes.
Yes,
Okay.
that's right.
And
Now-
something else maybe, sir, at that time also there was some developments. Vaccination appeared at that time. And of course there was a human anatomy appeared also.
Surgeries?
Yes, surgery and let's say microbiology.
Good.
Okay, so they appeared at...
So these terms were found in the Middle
yes,
Ages, appeared in the Middle Ages.
because there were, as you said,
Vaccination?
medical schools.
Yes,
So
yes.
they began more interested in medicine
Good,
and studies
good,
and
good.
research.
That's right.
Okay.
Now, Miss Wala, thank you, Miss Hanan. We can talk about, let's say, the modern ages or the modern age. What are some characteristics of modern medicine?
Yeah. Let's first talk about the time. During the late 18th century, several significant changes happened in the field of medicine. We have many characteristics. The modern medicine has crucial characteristics. First, there were many improvements on medical tools and machines, especially after the Industrial Revolution.
Okay.
Yeah, which brought about technological advancement that impacted medicine practice. Also, nursing came to be thought as a respectable job during this period. The cause of diseases in modern medicine, it is believed that the main cause of the disease is a germ.
Good.
And with the rise of germ theory, biological treatments became a focus in medicine, such as antibiotics.
Good.
And we have, this period has witnessed advancement in the field of chemistry, genetic, and radiography.
Genetics and radiography. Thank you very much. So again, if we want to go back to talk about modern medicine or medicine in the modern age, we can talk about many things. Let's say modern medicine began to appear in the late 18th century, of course, after the Industrial Revolution. So the Industrial Revolution, let's say, contributed a lot to
in the development of medicine.
to the development of medicine all over the world. So at that time, there were many improvements on medical tools, machines, right? And nursing here at that time, or at the beginning, yes, of the 20th century, nursing began to appear as a respectable job because all hospitals, let's say, began to take care of how to be clean, I mean, take care of health more. So nursing came to be thought as a respectable job, as we said, and because at that time people knew the reason or the cause of the diseases, which is which was the germs. So methods of treatment, of course, biological treatment such as antibiotics. Again, the use of antibiotics began at that time, and we witnessed advancement in chemistry, genetics, many, let's say, sciences, and even in radiography. That's it. Now, Ms. Hanan, I have another question for you.
Yes.
What was the contribution? Let's talk about the Arabic medicine now. What was the contribution of Arabic medicine to pharmacy?
Yes. By the way, the Arabs were the first who developed medicine, like Avicenna, Ibn Sina in Arabic, of course.
Yes.
But here we can say Arabic medicine, of course, greatly contributed to the development of pharmacy by discovering new drugs. Drugs, of course, medicines, I mean, like this in the picture,
Yes.
tablets or something like this. And the people at that time, the Arab, let's say doctors or Arab scientists here, they wrote their works in a book called Al-Mujarrabat. So they wrote about the history of the disease in a booklet called Al-Mujarrabat. It is about their experiences, of course.
Yes,
Okay.
that's right. Thank you. So the Arabs contributed a lot in pharmacy. I mean, how to treat the illnesses.
By using
And they
drugs.
wrote about all, let's say, their experiences in this booklet, which
Yes.
is called Al-Mujarrabat. Good. Miss Wala, thank you, Miss Hanan. Another question. Who makes up the modern healthcare system?
Yeah. Actually, today's healthcare system doesn't only include doctors.
Of course, we can use what here.
Yeah.
What makes up the modern healthcare system, or who makes up?
Oh, we are talking about
because
people
the
here.
speaker,
Yeah.
the person who asked, doesn't know. Okay, the answer. So, what makes up? Okay, the modern healthcare system, or who makes up the modern healthcare system?
Yeah, the healthcare system involves a range of professionals such as doctors, nurses, physical therapists, and technicians as well.
So, it involves a range of professionals, doctors, nurses, physical therapists, and technicians. If we want to talk about the system as a whole, of course, we have technology, we have machines, we have tools, modern tools. So, this system involves a lot of professionals as well as tools or
Special-
technologies.
Okay.
it.
Specialists at that time.
Yes,
appeared.
yes. Now, another question for Ms. Hanan. What are some characteristics of modern medicine nowadays? Let's talk about the characteristics of modern medicine.
Nowadays, modern medicine, of course, noticed a big change because it is characterized by surgeries. This
Surgeries means
operations.
operation.
And the use of
The use of
radiation,
radiation.
like X-ray rays, for
Yes.
example, microscopy,
Yes.
research, and analysis in disease detection.
Yes.
These practices, of course, are supported by the use of advanced technological tools.
Of course.
Nowadays, everything depends on technology, so this is what distinguishes modern medicine nowadays.
And
Technology.
maybe the students will notice later in Unit 4 that medicine, let's say, needed, let's say, or combined with another science, which is engineering. And
Yes.
that's why we have now, let's say, medical engineering, because the science of engineering
Is
can,
connected.
let's say, attribute a lot to medicine. Not only to medicine, to all fields of life, and one of them is medicine, of course. Thank you, Ms. Hanan. Ms. Wala, what will the future hold for medicine? What can people expect when we talk about medicine? What is expected in the future?
Yeah. Due to the rapid advancement of technology, the field of medicine will likely continue to develop in ways we have yet to imagine, opening up new possibilities and discoveries.
Okay, so here when we say due to the rapid
Because-
advance, means as a
Because-
result
yeah.
of
Or
or
because
because
of.
of the rapid advancement of technology, of course medicine will likely continue to develop. Of course it will continue to develop in ways we have yet to imagine. We don't know. We
Yeah.
don't know these ways
Just we
up to
predict.
now, opening up new possibilities, new discoveries in all fields. Thank you very much. Now, as you can see, dear students, we'd like to advise you that when you want to deal with any reading text, let's say, try to have a plan for the reading text or a map. I mean, you can discuss the main ideas of the text yourselves. So try to discuss the main ideas, try to know the main ideas in the text and not to focus on, let's say, only on the meanings of vocabs or new words. It is not enough for you because you have to know how to use the new words or the new vocabs to give, let's say, or to write complete structures about something. So this is what we want. This is the main skill of the unit, to ask for information in the text and to give information from the text to someone else. So when you want to ask, you have to know how to ask about them, and when you want to answer any question, you have to know the answer. So that's why I'm trying to focus on the main ideas. Try to understand the main ideas of any reading text, and not only to learn by heart the meanings of words. It is not enough. Now we have, I think, an exercise after the text. Of course, there are some highlighted words in the text, Ms. Hanan,
Yes.
some Ms. Wala, some highlighted words in the text. Let's try to match these highlighted words with their meanings.
Okay.
Yes, please.
The first word is inflammation. If we, of course, know the meaning, it's response of body tissues to injury of the body.
Yes.
Purging, it is the act of eliminating contamination or removing bad thoughts, or it's a purification. Let's say mythological, connected with ancient myths or
Myths,
stories.
yes.
Yes. Therapists, people trying to give a particular form of treatment for physical or mental illness. Okay.
Yeah, empirical, it means based on experience rather than ideas. We have consecutive, following one another without any interruptions. Anatomy, the scientific study of the structure of the body. Remedies, medicines that cure illness or disease.
Yes. Thank you very much. I hope that that is clear. Now we can move on to talk about vocabulary. Here, under this title, I think we have some medical words and we have some idioms too. So let's talk about the medical idioms in this unit. Miss Hanan, please.
Okay. Here we have the idiom "go under the knife." Of course, we can't take the meaning literally. Of course.
You mean students cannot? No one
No
can
one-
translate
Yes,
literally.
yes.
It is wrong to translate
have to
literally
check the dictionary.
this idiom. So you have to know the use or the concept or the meaning of,
Yes.
let's say, this idiom.
Yes.
Why we use it? What is
Okay.
the meaning of this idiom? It means,
Exactly. Of course, it means to have a surgical operation.
so to go under the knife is to have a surgical operation, to have an operation.
Operation or
Yes.
surgery.
Yes.
Yes. At death's door, it means to be very close to death. Maybe if the case is very dangerous.
So when someone is very close to death,
We
we
say
say that he is at
at
the
death's
death's door.
Yeah.
He is at
About
the
to
death's
die.
door. Yes.
Okay. Just what the doctor ordered. Here, it means exactly what is wanted or needed to improve a situation. It doesn't mean it is not a medical.
It has no relation with medicine
yeah,
or
no,
doctors.
It doesn't
We
have a
can use
medical
it.
meaning.
It refers
yeah.
to something different.
Yes.
In,
do as what
in social life we
wanted.
can use it. I mean, let's say having a week off is what is needed now,
Yes.
or what what just the doctor ordered.
Yes,
This
exactly.
is the meaning. Yes, exactly what is wanted or needed. Just what the doctor ordered. This is the meaning. Yes.
Yeah, let's complete the idioms. We have take a term for the worse. It means to get worse or to get sicker. For
So
example,
you mean when someone takes
offensively,
a turn for the worse, it means that
his health
he gets worse.
Yeah,
His
Right?
health deteriorates.
Yes,
also.
yes.
indicates a negative
He
change.
became sicker or
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
sicker. That's it.
The opposite of it is on the mend.
Yes.
It means healing and becoming well again.
Good. This is the opposite. Exactly.
Yeah. And the last one, a test of one's own medicine. It means the same unpleasant, unkind, or harmful treatment that one has given to others.
Yes.
It means that someone is receiving a consequence
Yes.
of his bad action.
Or behavior.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Now, choose the correct answer. We have an exercise. Miss Hanan.
Okay. Here we have to choose the correct idiom, of course. After a long tax season, getting an extra week off with pay is 4 choices: on the mend, at death's door, just what the doctor ordered, a test of one's own medicine. According to the meanings of the idioms, of course, it should be B, sir. Just what the doctor ordered, or as
It's
what
just
is
what the-
wanted.
Is what is needed,
Yeah.
or just what the doctor ordered.
Okay. My uncle last night, so we were heading to the hospital to see him. Maybe was on the mend, was on a roll, took a turn for the worse, had a taste of one's own medicine. Surely it means he got sicker or something like this. It should be B. Took a turn for the worse.
Yes.
So we were heading to the hospital to see him. Being late to work, the worker told his boss a story about his mother being maybe on the mend, at death's door, just what the doctor ordered, or a test of one's own medicine. Of course, it means he or she was maybe in a dangerous situation, maybe at a death's door. It should be C. The choice is C. So being late to work, the worker told his boss a story about his mother being at death's door. It means she was in a bad situation, or in a dangerous situation. Okay.
Yeah, number 4. I don't understand how people for really risky cosmetic procedures. We have are on the mend, take a turn for the worse, go under the knife, at death door. The correct answer is C, go under the knife, because we are talking about procedures or operations here. Number 5, we were so happy to hear that your father is back home now and at death door on the mend, takes a turn for the worse, goes under the knife. The correct answer is B, because it indicates that the speaker's father recovered again. The last one, I used to write rude comments on Instagram, but I got, when I created my own account, I got, on the mend, a test of one's own medicine, under the knife, a term for the worse. The correct answer is B, and it suggests that the speakers received a consequence for his actions.
Means that people treated him the same way.
Yeah.
They treated him the same because he behaved badly with them, and that's why he said, I got a taste of my own medicine.
Yeah.
Okay, not only one's medicine. Of course, we need to add my own medicine. My own medicine.
Yes.
Okay, good. So when we say a taste of one's medicine, it refers to anyone.
To anyone in that
But when the
sentence,
speaker uses this idiom for himself, we should add a taste of my own medicine, a taste of your own medicine, a taste of his or her own medicine, his own medicine, etc. Good. Thank you very much. Now we can talk about medical specialties, which means, again, medical words. When we talk about doctors, of course, all people who work in medicine are called doctors, of course, who treat people, of course.
Yes.
I'm talking about the people who treat other people. Yes. We call them doctors, but of course here doctors, let's say, have specialized in many fields. Some of them work in the field of, for example, heart, let's say, surgery, or illnesses or diseases. Someone else work to treat eyes. So some of them work to treat children, etc. So we have some medical words, and we tried in the book to introduce, let's say, these new words to the students, because at university or in their, let's say, life after finishing the baccalaureate, they will face or deal with these words everywhere. So let us try to introduce them as well, please.
Yeah.
No matter.
The first one, allergist. Allergist is a doctor who specializes in determining food and environmental allergies.
So we have an allergist here.
Yeah.
Allergist, again, is a doctor.
Yeah,
So
of course. He treats...
what does he do?
He treats or determine food and environmental allergies.
People who have allergies.
Allergy.
Yeah.
Yes, so in this case, they have to go to the allergist.
Yeah.
Ophthalmologist.
Ophthalmologist is a medical doctor who specialized in eye treatment.
So
in
we
general.
hope that our dear colleagues in the field, I mean English teachers or teachers of English, use some, let's say, aids or tools in their classrooms. They can use pictures, photos, etc. Some tools to clarify these words or to explain these words to their students, not only to translate into Arabic. So don't like to use Arabic in our classes. Try to use English all the time. Try to communicate with your students in English. Try to explain everything in English. It is better. It would be better, I think. So because the students will think in English, and this is what we want, not to think in Arabic. So when you want to learn a foreign language, you have to think in the same language. If you want to learn English, you have to think in English. If you want to learn French, you have to think in French, and so on. So using Arabic in our classes is a traditional method, and I think it is damaging because it teaches nothing. Let's go back to the words. So the third word.
Yeah, it's naturopath.
Naturopath.
A naturopath is a doctor who specializes in natural cures and remedies.
Thank you very much. Ms. Hanan, please.
Okay, cardiologist. Of course, he is specialized in heart diseases and everything about heart.
Yes.
Dermatologist, the one who studies the skin or treats, skin or something like this, because derma, it means skin. And pediatrician is the doctor of children.
Pediatrician,
Yeah.
yes.
He looks after children or takes care of children, their diseases, and treats them, of course.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Now, again, we have an exercise. Yes, please.
Yeah, we have to choose the correct answer here. The first one, Dr. Rashid Laylas came in and noted that her blood pressure and pulse were very high.
Dr. Rashid Laylas came in and noted that her blood pressure and pulse were very high.
Yeah, we have
So here we have 4 choices. Pediatrician.
ophthalmologist, cardiologist, and naturopath.
So
The correct answer is C, because we're talking about the disease
blood pressure,
and pulse.
pulse.
It's
So
very
here,
high. Yeah.
yes.
The
This is
second
the
one,
person who specializes
in eye disease.
in heart diseases.
In heart, yeah.
In
so-
heart disease. It's okay.
Yeah.
The second one.
Number 2, my father says everything looks bloody, so he's going to get his eyes checked. Allergist, cardiologist, ophthalmologist, naturopath. The correct answer is C, because his vision is, he suffers from his vision. He must refer to ophthalmologist.
Yes.
Number 3.
Okay, 3. I have a terrible rash on my arms and legs. I think I'm allergic to dairy food, so I must refer to A or N. Allergist, cardiologist, ophthalmologist, or naturopath. Of course, we are talking about allergy from food. It should be allergist.
Yes.
My little girl hasn't put on weight for 2 months. She should refer to A or N, it depends. Cardiologist, ophthalmologist, pediatrician, or naturopath. Of course, we are talking about children, little girl, so the doctor should be pediatrician.
Good. Thank you. Now we can move on to talk about grammar, dear students. When we talk about the passive voice, first of all, students should know why we use the passive. Why we have to use the passive, not the active. And they should know also the difference between active voice and passive voice. I mean, teachers should clarify this point. It is very important from the very beginning to make your students distinguish between active and passive, because this is the main point. When they are able to distinguish, so they can, let's say, choose the right answer, the final exam. So it is a very important point to distinguish between active and passive, and to know when to use the active and when to use the passive. Miss Wala, please.
Yeah. Why should we use the passive voice? Maybe you don't want to say what or who did the action. Number 2, you don't know who did the action. And the last one, the object is the most important part of the sentence. It means the action is more important than the doer.
The action, not the object.
Yeah.
You mean the action.
The action itself,
So
yeah.
when we say the vase was broken or the vase, both are correct.
Yeah, we mean breaking here.
So the speaker here is focusing on the action, not
Yeah.
the doer of the
Doer,
action.
yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So that's why we use the passive. Now, let's talk about the active voice and the passive voice, Ms. Hanan.
Okay. What is active voice? Of course, active voice is when we begin with the subject or when the subject is already known. So here the subject performs the action and the object receives the action. Like I speak English. I is the doer and English is the object. The structure of an active voice sentence is typically sentence, subject, verb, object. Kate wrote the letters. This is in the active. Now what about the passive?
So here, sorry, Miss Hanan,
Okay.
Kate is the doer of the action.
Yes.
Kate did the action.
They concentrate
She
on Kate.
wrote the
Yes.
letter, so she is the doer. So here the subject is the doer of the action, and the object receives the action. So here the sentence, the whole sentence, tells us what the subject did,
Yes.
what Kate did. So this is active. Now the passive.
The passive. In the passive, of course, the subject of the sentence receives the action instead of performing it. You know, when we change from active into passive, the object comes in the place of the subject, so it is called also subject. So here the subject of the sentence receives the action instead of performing it.
Yes.
The structure of passive voice sentence is typically object, verb, and subject. But here we can say verb to be, verb 3, and
Yes,
the
we
rest.
can talk about this
form.
later, the
Okay.
details,
Yes,
yes. But now we're trying to focus on the main
Yes,
points.
exactly.
The passive here, the letter.
The letter was written by Kate.
Yes,
What
so
is more
here-
important here is that the letter was written. They concentrate, focus on the letter, and if it is necessary, we say by Kate, by Ali, and so on.
Again, here the letter is the subject of the sentence.
Yes.
But
In the
actually,
place of the subject.
actually it receives
Yes.
the action. So here the sentence tells us what happened to the subject,
yeah.
not what the subject
Does.
did.
Or did.
It's okay,
Yeah.
it's the same.
No.
It depends on the tense,
Yes.
by the way. So here the letter was written, it is past. So what the subject received. The subject here received the action. We're
Exactly.
talking about what happened to the letter, not what Kate did. You see? So here students should know very clearly that it is passive. Again, we have verb to be here. And after verb to be, we have verb 3, past participle. So it is very clear that this sentence is passive.
Yes.
Now we can, thank you Ms. Hanan, we can move on to talk maybe about the forms, the details, some examples. Yes, please.
Let's start by talking about the steps of making a sentence in a passive form. We have a sentence here, the children ate the cake. Step 1, we have to identify the elements of the sentence, I mean the subject. It's the children here. We have the verb, ate in the past simple, and the object, the cake. This is the first step. Then, we have to move the object to become the new subject. The object here is the cake. We put it at the first.
So we use the object as a subject,
Yeah,
simply.
yeah.
Okay.
After that, what is the verb tense in the active sentence? We have to identify the tense of the sentence.
So it is.
Here it's in the past.
So we have to use
We have to use be
in the same tense.
tense as the main verb in the active sentence. So it's in the past. We have to use was.
Okay. If we continue here, we say put the verb be, so it's the same tense as the main verb in the active sentence. As we noticed here, ate is past, so we have to use verb to be in the past was. In step 5, we have to add the past participle of the main verb after be. So the past participle of ate is eaten, so the cake was eaten. If necessary, decide what to do with the subject of the active sentence. If the subject is important, if the subject is a person or it's very important, we add it after the preposition by or sometimes with.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So, in general, there are 3 main steps, but here we made them 6 steps.
Yes.
Why? We added 3
detail.
In
other
detail.
steps, but there are 3 main steps.
Yes, of
To use the subject as an
steps,
object.
yeah.
Step number 2,
Add verb to
use
be.
be in the same tense as the active verb. And step number 3, use the active verb in the past participle
Yes.
or verb 3. That's it.
Okay.
The third form. Now, other examples. Miss Wala, please.
Yeah, let's talk about different tenses. Let's start with the present simple. We have an example here. The government builds bridges every year. We have first to identify the subject the action, and the object. The object here, bridges, we put it at the beginning. So bridges, then we have to put the verb be in the correct form according to the tense, because it's in the present. We have to put are. The object is a plural. Then the past participle of the verb, built, built. Then we put the subject by using by before it. After that, we complete the sentence.
It is
we
called the agent.
Yeah.
The agent here, we call the government
Yeah.
here, becomes the agent
The
in the
agent.
passive, and it must be preceded by the word by.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we include any additional information from the active sentence, like every year. The second one,
Yes.
yeah,
Go on,
past,
please.
yeah.
Past simple.
Yeah.
Okay. Past simple. The government built bridges last year. The same steps, of course. The adverb should be, the object should be at the beginning. Built here past. We add verb to be in the past, was or were, but because we have bridges, we have to use were. And the past participle is built by the government. As we said, we put the subject after the preposition by, and the rest of the sentence here.
Thank you.
Yeah, present continuous. The government is building bridges currently. Here it's in the present continuous. We have to put the object first, bridges. Then we have to put be in the correct form. Bridges are. Then being, because it's in the continuous form. Then we have to put the past participle of the main verb, built. Then the agent by the government, and the additional information from the sentence.
Okay. In the past continuous, the government was building bridges. The object bridges should be at the beginning, was or were, it depends here where, because bridges is plural. In continuous tenses, present or past, we add being, and then verb 3, by the government, the subject after the preposition by.
Yeah, present perfect. The government has built bridges recently. We have to put the object first, bridges. Then we have to put have, because it's in the present perfect. Then the be in the verb 3 being. Then the past participle of the main verb built by the government, the agent, and the complement recently.
Okay. Past perfect, the same steps here. The government had built bridges by 2015. Bridges at the beginning, as we said, the object at the beginning. Had, because it is past perfect. In perfect tenses, we add been and verb 3 built by the government by 2015.
Yeah, after that we have present passive with modals. The government will build bridges next year. We have to put the object first, bridges, then the modal verb will. After it we have to put be in the zero form. Then we have to put the verb in the past participle built, the agent by the government, then the complement next year.
Here we have past passive with modals. The government should have built bridges years ago. Past, of course, with modals should be, should have, and verb 3. In the passive, the object should be at the beginning. Bridges should have been built by the government. We add been because it is in the perfect form. And the subject by the government years ago. The rest.
An exercise now.
Yeah, we have to choose the correct answer. The first one, many plants since the 1970s. We have had constructed, it's active in the past perfect. We have been constructed, it's a present perfect passive. Were constructed, past simple passive. And we have constructed, it's a present perfect active.
Let's stop here, please.
Yeah.
Here, if we look at the 4 choices, dear students, and that's what I focused on at the beginning. You have to know how to distinguish between active and passive. And that's how the sentences will be in the final exam. So here, you have first to decide or to determine whether the sentence here is written in the active form or in the passive form. Of course, if you look at the sentence, we have many plants here. It's okay, we have a subject. Now, after the space, we don't have an object, of course, and here it is very clear when you read the sentence, many plants since the 1970s, the sentence talks about the plants. I mean, the subject receives the action
Receives,
here,
instead of-
receives the action, not does the action, the subject. So here we have decided that the sentence is passive.
Passive.
Then we have a key word here in the sentence.
We have
There is a
since.
key word which is since, and you have to know that this word is used with the present perfect, with the present perfect, not with the past. So had constructed is past perfect active, it is not correct. Were constructed, it is passive in the past,
Past
it
simple.
is not correct. Choice B have been constructed and choice D have constructed. So choice D is active, choice B is passive. So you have to look for B, not for the main verb, because the sentence is written in the passive, so you have to look for verb B in the present perfect. So be here in the present perfect, it must be have been or has been. The subject here in the sentence is plural, so you have to choose have been. So here we have been, and we have the third form of the verb which is constructed, and that is the right choice or option. Thank you very much. It is a good choice or a good sentence, I mean, because we can explain easily to the students how the question will be in the final exam. The second one,
Yeah,
please.
the second one, the lights on with the car phone an hour ago. Here we start the sentence with the lights. We have to identify if the lights did the action, it's in the past, or received the action. Here we have four choices: switch, were switched, are switched, and were being switched. We say it's in the passive form. We have to omit A because it's active, and we have three choices. The correct answer is
Were switched.
Were
because
switched,
an hour
yeah,
ago is used with
in
the
the
past.
past.
Simple.
Yeah.
Thank you. Number 3, Miss Hannah,
Okay.
yes, please.
1,500 square kilometers or kilometer of rainforest every year. Here, to use the verb cut, it should be active or passive. We have four choices, as you see: cuts, cut, is cut, was cut. First, 1,500 square kilometers of rainforests, surely they don't cut themselves, somebody cut them, so it should be passive. Now, present or past, it should be present because we have every day. But I have a note here about the verb, if it is singular or plural. Some teachers say it's a plural because they say 1,500 square kilometers is a plural. By the way, this is a noun of measurement. Usually in grammar, nouns of measurements are treated as collective nouns, but with these nouns of measurement, the verb should be singular.
Yes, you're right. Is
Cut.
every year.
Yeah.
Because here, every is used with the present simple. There is nothing in the sentence which refers to the past, though I think that we can or we should omit the choice D, the last one, and change it to something else, because we can use every year with the past simple. So, but it's okay. Here we're talking about, let's say, a routine which happens every year, and this amount of land is cut every year. No matter how many, let's say, square kilometers are there, but it is an amount, okay? So we refer to this amount by using singular verbs. So is cut as an amount. This amount is cut every year, which contains, of course, 1,500 square kilometers of the rainforests.
By the way, some nouns of
I know.
measurement like
Yes,
distance.
yes. That's right.
etc.
That's
Okay.
right. Thank you.
Okay.
number
Next
4.
one.
A critical issue by environmentalists around the world currently. We have debates, debated, is debating, is being debated. Here the issue is being debated because it receives the action. So it's in the passive form. Number 5, the evidence when the lights went off. Examined, was examining, was being examined, was examined. Here the correct answer is C. We have two actions interrupted by each other.
Thank you.
Okay, the paintings till the end of the month we should choose will exhibit, have exhibited, will be exhibited, were being exhibited, of course. The paintings surely is the receiver of the actions, so it should be in the passive. We are talking about the future, so it should be either A or C. The correct answer should be C because it is passive, will be exhibited.
Thank you very much. Now, another skill. When we talk about pronunciation, we have the emphatic stress. So we have only 5 minutes. So let's try to finish it as we can. When we talk about emphatic stress, dear students, sometimes we say different sentences in our daily life. And sometimes we try in our speech to focus on one part more than others. For example, when I say, we need to be at the meeting. We need to be at the meeting at 4 o'clock. So I'm trying to focus on we. It means not you. We, me and you need to be at the meeting at 4 o'clock as a group, not other people. So we need to be at the meeting at 4 o'clock. At 4. So here the stress is
on the time.
On the time, which means not at 3, not at 2, etc. So in our daily life, in our everyday life, we always use such, let's say, a strategy. We try to stress or to focus on some parts of our statements. Let's try to clarify this, Ms. Hanan.
Here we have emphatic stress. Emphatic stress, it means stressing a particular word in a sentence to convey a specific meaning to the receiver.
So it changes the meaning.
Yes.
When we stress a different word.
Yes, exactly. There are no rules or guidelines for producing emphatic stress. The choice here of the word to be stressed depends on the speaker intention.
What the speaker wants
as
to
you
say.
Said, we,
yes,
not
yes,
you, not they. You said 4 o'clock, not 5.
Yes.
Emphatic stress can be used in both statements and the questions, by the way. Okay.
Examples or an exercise now?
About it. Yes.
Yeah, we need to be at the meeting at 4 o'clock. The emphatic stress on meeting means.
So here, if the stress is
on
the word meeting here,
yeah.
What does the speaker mean?
Yeah, the meeting is at 4, not 5. You and I have to be there at 4, but others don't. We need to be at the meeting, so we must arrive at the building earlier. The meeting is at 4, not the match.
So
the correct answer is D, because we are emphasizing
talking about
here,
the meeting, not about the match.
Okay.
Yes.
We need to be at the meeting at 4 o'clock. The emphatic stress here is on 4, means the meeting is at 4 o'clock, not 5, or you and I have to be there at 4, but the others don't. Or we need to be at the meeting, so we must arrive at the building earlier. The meeting is at 4, not the match. We are focusing on time, so we should focus on.
So there is no need to repeat reading the choices because they are the same.
The meeting
so here the meeting is at 4,
not
5 because 4, the word 4 is underlined, so the stress is on the word 4.
The word 4 holds the meaning here.
That's right. Number 3.
We don't have number 3. We have another skill here.
Oh, another skill. Everyday English, asking for information. Here, when we want to ask about information or to ask for information, we can use any question word, dear students. Begin your question with appropriate question words, like who, what, where, when, why, how, etc. For example, what time does the train arrive?
Yeah, we can also use polite phrases and make a request rather than a demand. For example, would you mind telling me? Or could you please let me know? Is it necessary to?
Let's have an exercise in a hurry.
Yeah.
Number
I've heard
1.
that a huge amount of oil has just been found in my country. To ask for information, the correct answer should be B. Could this have an impact on the price of petrol for car drivers? It has the same idea. So it should be B. Yeah.
Yes.
The second one, about 85% of the world's population now on a mobile phone. We have 4 choices. How long have you had yours? Where do you live? What's your favorite film? And do you have an account on Facebook? The appropriate answer is A, because we are talking about the mobiles and its ownership.
Thank you very much. I think that's enough for today. I think And we hope that, dear students, everything is clear for you. Dear students, at the end, let me thank my colleagues in the city who participated in this session. Ms. Wala Safir, an English supervisor from Damascus Countryside Directorate, thanks for your participation, Ms. Wala. And Ms. Hanan Kantagji, an English teacher from Hama Directorate, thanks for coming. Again, Ms. Hanan. Dear students, till we meet in other sessions, we wish you all the best. That's Basil Sadiq speaking from the Syrian Educational Channel. Goodbye.